Mr. Bale?
Here.
Mr. Horton?
Here.
Mrs. Rennie? Here. Mrs. Showerman? Mrs. Showerman? Mr. Scatella?
Here.
Mr. Winarski? He was online. He has issues with his microphone. Somebody text me. Mr. Winarski? Mr. Shank?
Here. Okay, at this point of the meeting, we're going to have a hearing of the public. If there's anybody here who'd like to speak, please just raise your hand, give us your name and where you're from, and we'll give you 3 minutes. So is there anybody here who'd like to say a few words?
This is Freda Tepfer, and I would like to speak. I'm from Erie, and I was a member of the HRC advisory panel for quite a while. And I made substantial comments when there was you recently approved revision to the bylaws and the ordinance. My feeling is that the Human Resource Commission has a huge potential, which isn't necessarily being met. And I think there are a lot of people who aren't aware that this venue for addressing complaints and concerns exists. But I think there's also a lack of confidence that if they do go through that process, it's going to have any meaningful result in any reasonable amount of time. And I still have the same concerns I had, that the way the revisions were done, you have given altogether too much power and control for this function to the executive director. The executive director should be accountable to the board of directors, not the other way around. You've given him control over revising the bylaws. It just doesn't seem appropriate. When I was on the advisory commission panel, the director spent a lot of time working with the Mill Creek School District on a video when the same kinds of equipment and expertise was available in the Erie High School. Those are the people who should have been recruited to work on a video, not the people in Mill Creek, because they could most benefit from having the opportunity to do that work. I just think there's a lot of good potential in HRC, and there's a lot of lost opportunity, and I hope that you can find a way to help make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to let you know that Mr. Winarski did confirm that he is in attendance.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Could we have, yes, ma'am, just give us your name and where you're from. And
My name is Mary Jo Campbell. I'm from Washington Township in near Edinburgh, and I'm the chair of the Human Relations Commission. And I'm here to tell you that we have done some things. Rumor has it that people don't think we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but we are doing things. Keep in mind, prior to this particular director, we had a director before that was not working. He left a lot of cases behind. He did. Between the last commission chair and myself, we have never missed a meeting in 4 years, except for one in January, where Wayne Harbison was really ill. He tried to get it done, but we talked with Nicole. She helped us through it. We've had 2 hearings this year, one in June and one in October. We had a hearing 2 years ago. Keep in mind too, that when we have these hearings, you have your commissioner working, you have your commissions working. We have a commission, a body of fact. All three people who were there that were supposed to be. The lawyers were there. The June hearing settled before we had a chance to really hear it. But we were all there. So we are doing things. It's taken a while because, first of all, you are dealing with volunteers and you are dealing with people who are just getting into the commission. The previous chairperson had a training and we intend to have another one. We also had a training when it came to being a commissioner person, a commissioner hearing board person. We had that. So we are doing things. It's taken a while. I'll grant you that. It's taken you a while. But I think that, first of all, I should have been notified of this meeting earlier on. I am the chair. That's the first thing, okay? The second thing is, I would have answered any of your questions before I got to this. You could have called me, you could have done any of that. I'm available. Andre will tell you how available I am, okay? So I don't know what you intend to do, but I'm telling you, we are functioning. I didn't even know that Tony was leaving till yesterday. And that's not fair either. So we are functioning and we are doing our due diligence. I've been to 2 council meetings where this was addressed before. The ordinances, I met with Council Showerman and Doug at the time. And we went through the ordinances and I took care of a lot of the stuff and they were more than cooperative with me. Okay, now when you talk about the procedures and things, that's what I meant. I went with the procedures, the bylaws. The ordinances, yes, they do give a lot of power to the executive director, but he's a paid person, we're volunteers. I mean, we do know our stuff, but it takes a while to come back on board. We've never canceled a meeting, as I said, except for one. We always haven't had a quorum, but we've never canceled a meeting, except for that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to say a few words? Dr. Faust, thank you, sir.
I'm here as a citizen as best I can be, not the county controller, but just to give a little bit of background, this Human Relations Commission was reconstituted in 2004 as an issue that I felt very important about, very strongly about as a new member of council at the time. As I said then, I will say now, I think it says a lot about your community. You allow a body like this to address issues of discrimination locally instead of having to go to other parts of the state. It helps clear out cases from the courts. It doesn't bog down the courts. It helps encourage settlements short of the legal system. And I just think there's a lot of benefit to it. The Human Relations Commission has been imperfect over the years, for sure. The reason why it's under council is that I think this is a body that reflects the diversity of Erie County as best as we can. I would encourage you to do a couple things. One, keep it under council. You have the power of the purse. Therefore, it will always be a priority. If you believe it's a priority, I would go out and hire as best you can a dynamic executive director, as Mr. Horton knows. I think we, no disrespect to Mr. Lowe, but I thought it was a real go-getter on Ms. Gellner a few years ago. If we could find somebody like that to reinvigorate the Human Relations Commission going forward, I think that will be a step in the right direction as well. But this is a step that I think that's important for Erie County, and I would hate to see it go backwards in a particular way by eliminating or curtailing the importance. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Faust. Anybody else?
My name is Wayne Harvest. I'm the staff person at the office. Right now, the only person in the office. But if anybody has any questions, some of them are not talking about details about cases and things like that. I'm willing to sit down and talk with anybody that has an issue with how the way it operates. I would like to see us develop a practice procedures manual. So when this transitions to maybe somebody else, there's a playbook to go by. Right now, it's kind of a draft, but it needs to be tightened up. But some of those things, I think we are talking about those 4 things with the Erie School District. We really have the Dr. Stoops from Mill Creek volunteer his students to come in, do this commercial. We thought it was good exercise for them, trying to get more young folks involved. We since had Ken Brasington retired from the school district. We're going to be working with him to do something also with Erie School District. So there's a lot of those things we have in the works. We'd like to also bring on sometime in the future interns, somebody that's either in social service, pre-law, that's interested in coming in. We'd like to involve more local attorneys helping these cases. Previously, the office wrote the complaints for the complaint. Those should be drafted by the attorney. We need more attorneys here to do that kind of stuff for these folks. Can't represent. If there's any questions anybody has about the office or something else.
Thank you, Wayne. Anybody else have to say a few words at this time? Anybody on the Zoom meeting would like to speak at this time? Please let us know. Anybody else would like to say a few words? I'd like to add,
This is Freda again. I'm just kind of amazed that I share this meeting with a lot of people. And I neglected to share it with Mary Jo because I assumed she would have been told. And I'm kind of horrified that she wasn't. I mean, Kathy Schaaf, who's on the advisory council, she didn't know either, and she found out because I told her. But and that she didn't know that Tony Logue left. I mean, that's not a courtesy to the chair of the commission to not let them know that this meeting was going to take place when it was advertised in the newspaper several days ago.
Dennis,
Yeah, I'd like to also reiterate Wayne's job. He's been doing a great job as far as keeping people informed and things of that nature. Without him and our secretary, Christine Mitchell, we could not function. And I want you to understand that, because they do take due diligence in making sure people know when the meetings are. And they send out minutes. Every meeting is recorded, so it's there. All the agendas are recorded, so there's no lack of transparency as far as I can see. But, you know, anything else that you would have to ask of me, you can, that's not a problem at all. And I do hope that we get some things squared away today. Thanks.
thank you again. Anybody else? It's your last call.
Yes,
And name and where you're at, please.
my name is Veronica Rexford, and I am the secretary of Erie's NAACP unit number 2262. As the secretary, I'm on the executive board. I'm the person who takes in complaints of discrimination, quite often related to employment and housing. It is critically important that Erie has a local, functional, and efficient human relations commission so that I can refer people to their process for complaints when that's appropriate. I have worked with people who had issues in the past, and I've had, you know, some good results. I've had people, I believe it was Wayne, was very responsive, but I do find that the path to resolution for a lot of the people who contact me with a concern is through the Human Relations Commission. And I just want to let you know, as someone in the community who's hearing from people who have issues related to the resolution that can be offered by the Human Relations Commission, that I would urge you to make certain that you keep a local entity who is up to speed and doing their job so that we can continue to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, there's one more.
Last call on the Zoom meeting.
Yes, there's one more.
Oh, okay, it's hard to see them all. Go ahead, just the name and where you're at, please.
Devonna Paisley. I am a resident of Erie, PA. I am also the co-founder of Erie's Black Wall Street. This is my first time attending this meeting. I'm understanding that the Human Resources Relations Commission I'm well aware of this commission. Being my first meeting, I feel disappointed at this moment just by the response of people who are not combating Freda when she's speaking and saying her piece, but we need to be better at holding ourselves accountable. I completely understand the fact that you've all sent, emails and stuff, but to be honest with you, I can say that I have not seen much marketing as far as this commission being visible to the community. And I will say that there are times where, yes, you're doing your job, right? Yes, everybody's doing what they can, but I think it's the disservice to say that you're not holding yourself accountable, that you can be better. I think that's important to verbalize and to be aware of when you are doing a service for the community. Because if you want people to come to you as a resource to help and fix something that is supposed to be for them, we have to be better at holding ourselves accountable. Being a person sitting here listening to the responses back to a person who's saying we got to be better, to me is disheartening, because I would love to be able to share that this is there and for the community, but I cannot sit here and say that that is the response is a safe response for somebody to be a part of. And I have to share that. Like, let's be better at holding ourselves accountable. Let's be better at saying, okay, you know what? We'll take that in consideration. We are doing the best that we can. Yes, we can do better. I want to see that in our government. People are supposed to be holding themselves accountable, and people who are supposed to be there for us in our community. I'm disheartened by the response, I will say. As far as the Human Relations Commission, thank you for organizing this and putting this together for our community. I definitely would love to continue to be a part of these meetings and hear and observe, but I just have to call that part out. I don't know who the person was by their voice, but I would say, please, let's be better at holding ourselves accountable. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Anybody else on the Zoom meeting that would like to speak at this time? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to answer the previous person. We are doing the best we can, but we always can improve. We talk about it every single meeting. What are some things we can do? I invite you to come to our meetings. They're on Zoom at this particular point, but we do everything we can to improve. We've already had, we've had we're having the second annual report out. We never had one before our previous chair. We never had an annual report. We do now. Okay, we do have hearings. Anyone that knows attorneys knows that they have to schedule the way they can schedule them. Everybody is open to suggestions and ideas, and no one has said, okay, we have all the answers. No one has said that. I'm just here today to make sure you don't close it down for whatever reason, or why, to figure out what the whole purpose of this meeting was, since I wasn't informed. So I just want you to know that we are trying very hard, and we do meet, and we do ask questions of ourselves. So I have to answer to that person. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's nobody else has any input at this time, we're going to move on to the next section, which is the discussion.
Yes, Chair, I do have a question. Just
Please.
being new here, and with Mr. Bill. If a concern comes in, I take it Wayne starts to process.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And if you find that the concern is valid,
Yes.
I don't know if you do that decision. When does, what did Mary Jo, you call yourself board of directors?
We're the commission.
The commission. When do you guys get it?
After the process of the application, the complaint, and everything, until it gets to the need for a public hearing. Usually we try to settle those cases before a public hearing, because public hearings cost you $1,000 for the transcript, plus the time for the attorneys to be here. The case can be settled before it gets here. The satisfaction of both parties, that's what we usually do. The hearing, that's going to be something that's going to take a little bit longer to process. Usually we don't share any information with any commission, with anybody else, including county council, who's filing cases against who. When it comes to the point that public hearing going to be scheduled, then that information is released to the commissioners and then everybody else. But up until that point, it's someone's problem.
So you deem it necessary, you try to settle.
Yes.
You come up with an agreement, does it go to the commission then to agree with that? Or do you settle it at your level?
Well, that was just settled with the director and both parties' attorneys. Yeah, they both agreed to that. Now, they're probably been, I'm not sure what might have been reported back to county council previously.
The commission knows that it's been settled.
Right.
There's a list of cases. We don't know what the cases are, but they might say case of employment, a case of housing, that kind of thing. And Tony might say we settled a housing disagreement this week. This particular week we got a settlement. So we do hear when they're settled
But
before public.
you don't have any decision making. in-
Not until we get it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to just sort of set, I guess, some type of baseline for us in moving forward. First of all, I think an apology is due to Mary Jo and some of the others who did not find out about this That certainly wasn't our intent. I think with council, we've been in upheaval this year because we're short-staffed as well. And I think what brought this forward at this time was the resignation of Attorney Lowe. And I don't think we'd be addressing it otherwise, except for that. So that.
See, I didn't even know he resigned.
Right, and you should have known that as well. So again, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And so that, but that still brings us to the same point that we need to make some decision, which is why we're meeting here today. Our own solicitor, Tom Talarico, couldn't be here today because he knew we were trying to schedule something, but he didn't know of the exact day and time for this particular meeting. He did talk with me a little bit earlier and basically outlined 3 possible options that council would have. The council could choose to eliminate and close down the Human Relations Commission. We are one of only a handful of counties in Pennsylvania that actually has one. We could continue it as is and perhaps do some reconstruction, hire a new director, look at other possible changes. The other possibility is to change or restructure the way the commission reports and how it is. It's currently assigned to county council, but there are a number of human relations commissions, such as in Allegheny, that are part of the human resources department. And they have an employee. They utilize the solicitors with the county, so they would be using the same solicitors under the administration. And then the commission, so that the employee would handle the intake of cases and that sort of thing. And then the commission would collectively make decisions on cases, and they would be under the guidance of the solicitor.
I think at one time it had been that way. I'm not sure what's under administrations are, it had been located as part of human resources. The only thing there's potential for conflict of interest for people filing cases against the county. We may want to take the position that anybody that's filing a case against the county employee against the county, we refer them out to somebody else. So we don't have potential conflict, but that's a big deal.
I understand that. Yeah, that might be something to consider. I mean, as it is now, this is effectively a Department of County Government as well. So I think it's probably about the same issue, and the commission is independent in any case. So that's the discussion that's being put forward today, I think, is what, if any, action do we take? And the reason that we're pushed to take action now is, again, by the lack of a director for the Human Relations Commission. And just real quickly, I'd like to just read off something so everybody understands that the Erie County Human Relations Commission works to eliminate discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations. The commission investigates claims of unlawful discrimination to ensure the equal opportunities for all persons. Just want to make sure that everyone who's listening to this understands the basis for the Human Relations Commission. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Chair. That's why we're here. We're not making decisions today. This is not a voting issue. We're not here to say yes or no. We want transparency. I literally got a phone call from Mr. Lowe and said, Councilman, I'm resigning as of tomorrow. It took a couple of days for that letter to get into our office. So there was no intent or malice from anybody from hiding anything. Mr. Lowe called me and said, I'm quitting. I asked him, said, hey, can you hang on just a little while so we kind of get restructured, we can get our feet on the ground. He said, no, I'm done. And then a week. Yeah. So there was we can't really say that he quit until we get it in writing says that he quits. He can call me all day long, say, I'm mad and I quit, and he shows up to work tomorrow. So until it's in black and white, it doesn't exist. So there was a little disconnect in that area.
I get it, I understand that. part.
Yeah, you asked an honest question, we're gonna give you an honest answer.
I hope so.
That's what we're here
Yeah.
for. Again, this isn't to say we're down, we're thumbing up, we're quitting, we're shutting down. That's not it. We're trying to figure out where we need to go. Mr. Hart.
Thank you, Chairman Shank. To say that I'm disappointed in the way that the notifications went out, being understand. Even as a member of this body, I seen an email yesterday. It's the first time I knew anything about this meeting. I hadn't had any discussions with any of you about having a special meeting, which should never happen. Some of us don't always get to check our emails. And so I apologize to Ms. Campbell and the commission, and to Wayne, and to the community. I actually got calls. I thought people were talking about the Tuesday meeting from concerned citizens. And they're right to be concerned. With that said, I have been around here to see it go from the administration to council. I am in disagreement with the bylaws. I voted that way. I just felt that an agency is supposed to protect the residents. When this body passes an ordinance, a law, it says that we won't discriminate against certain protected classes. We make the protected class that you cannot discriminate against sex offenders. You cannot hold them, their record against them beyond 5 years. And to have the bylaws put forward, change it from 5 years to 10 years. In this climate, is a travesty. We need rents going up, probably need rent control. It is discrimination in employment. Anybody who don't think that, you're on another planet. It is discrimination in housing. You're on that same planet if you don't believe that. And public accommodations as well. I served as the NAACP president prior to coming here. I've worked in conjunction with the commission. We've had some good results and we've had some horrible outcomes, i.e. really inefficiency, which we own up to. We attempted to right things. We did have an excellent campaign. And last year, quite frankly, the year before, I never seen the commission more in battle amongst themselves. But I also want to say that they made great strides. We believe in the commission. We believed in them so much, we invested more money into it in our attempt to fix it. Okay, we'll try it. And so far, it's been on a good trajectory. You do an annual report now. We fought over that. Council tried not to micromanage, but when you have the advisory board from the commission voicing their concerns and commissioners voicing their concerns, and you have a chairman who's fighting with the executive director, and no one wants to come in and sit down and work things out. When we try to work things out, the executive director comes in and slams a microphone down and says, "Do you mind if I take?" Setting up an adversarial relationship. We received notification he was going, I won't say I cried. Because the first report that we got, the annual report that was put forward, was garbage. It was insulting. And it was offensive. Because he threw a tantrum. I mean, you guys can stop me if I'm speaking out of sorts. I'm sure we can pull that up somewhere and let you see it for yourself. They tried to bring in the state to write the shit. They brought the state in. Commission, they did some really, really great things. Really proud of the work you're doing, Wayne.
Mayor Joe. I am, even under the circumstances, proud of the work that Christine is doing. And there is a need for, it's probably more needed now than ever, just because of the dispensation and the climate that we're in. Yeah, we're giving all the power to the landlord to tell a guy, you don't make 2/3 of this a certain amount, we don't have to rent to. And so I am for it. I'm just gonna go on the record. No, we're not voting for it today. Yeah, we're having a discussion. But I vehemently support maintaining a commission. And I don't think it should be. And I went back and forth about it with the solicitor. We turned it over to him before, we got it back, turned it over to him before. They haven't done enough marketing. We tried to hire somebody for marketing. They made a big kerfuffle over that. And we got what we got. We got some really good people. Still, we got some really committed people, and it's important to remember that they are volunteers and that they deserve better, not only from us, but from their leadership. But they are on the right trajectory. Things have, I think, what we spent $150,000, $200,000 or something on furniture, office space, and all that stuff. And so I'm gonna get off the soapbox. But to my colleagues, we got to communicate better with each other too. We got to have conversations more so now than ever, because there is a lot of upheaval. There's a lot of things going on really, really fast around here. It's kind of like the merry-go-round at the Glenwood Zoo. You know, the one the kids play on, they don't stop for it. They don't stop it, let you get on. You pull up and you got to time that thing, you got to jump right on it. You got to get on it, you got to grab on, hold on, or get through off. That's what we're dealing with in local government right here, right now. Nobody wants to address it. But it's a mess. And it's our responsibility. Yeah, we got new stuff going on, but the buck stops right here. It stops right here. We control the money. We're not like they are across the park. We're not, we're a home rule charter. It's designed for us to make these decisions. It's not designed for us to yield or to lay down. We are the checks and balances. A lot of you are new, but you're prepared, you're committed, you love this community, you love this county. I have faith in you. Excited about having new vision here, new eyes on it. But if anybody thinks for 1 second that the community will sit down and allow us to even consider closing this thing down, you're sad in the same. Not this climate. And we probably could do well to have some working sessions. One thing that I do agree with Councilman Green is what has to be changed is the reporting, is the updates. We don't micromanage, we don't ask for particulars, but we damn well should know that, hey, we got 2 cases this week, this month. We had 6 people filed this month, and here's where we're at in the process. That's accountability, and that's transparency. Mr. Chair, I don't have any. I'm just really disheartened by all of this. I can't even believe that we're having a discussion about whether we need it or not. Restructure, maybe. Keep it under, maybe. But do we need it? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for those great words, Mr. Horn. Anybody else? Mr. Bennett.
I haven't seen the annual report. I think you tell me how many cases, contacts you had in 2021.
That'll be the new one will be coming out. I believe there's probably gonna be about 12 or 13 on there total. Some again are ongoing coming forward from the previous year. Depends when they come in. About 80% of our cases are employment. 10 housing, 10% public accommodation.
Anything else? Anybody else? Like I said, this is just discussion. If you have something else?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
it's, I just wanted to make a comment. It is a discussion, and yet this is a formal meeting of council, so we do have decision-making capability and really responsibility to take action of some kind or another, whether it's taking action on one of the points put forward by Mr. Talarico, or whether it's taking action on studying the matter further by way of an ad hoc committee and doing more digging into the facts. That might be another option going forward. We need to do something. That much is obvious. They can't go on the way that they're going now with no director. And I guess I have a question for Wayne in that we talked a little bit about this the last time before council. What's the time frame for reasonably being able to coast without a director in place?
Well,
Can we stop taking complaints on a temporary
That's what I was
basis?
just gonna
Just
suggest, are we looking to maybe stop taking some more complaint? Although I haven't seen a lot recently. There's still maybe a couple that may potentially commit.
60-day suspension of complaints while we work out the structure of the.
I don't think that's.
I think there's but that puts a burden on the complainant.
Yeah.
Because they have 180 days.
Yeah, 100 days, that's the other part.
And so to just say, okay, we're gonna knock off 60 of your 180 days, I don't think it's right.
So if there's any provision in the ordinance to account for that. Difference, getting 180 days to look at, the time they're less hard to file a complaint.
So also, I don't see anybody here from the city. The city is a stakeholder in this commission as well. And so any working group or any further discussion. I would like for the
There's
city.
24 advisory board members, and one commission.
They're stakeholders and they should be privy and party to any discussions about what we're doing. As should the chairperson of the commission, head commissioner, and perhaps even advisory commission. If we're going to put an ad hoc committee together at some point, Mr. Chair, I would like to include the chair of the commission, the chair of the advisory board, of course, Wayne. Get your last name, call you Wayne. 45. But yeah, we should take all of the stakeholders into consideration.
Right. I don't want to go too deep in making decisions because our liaison, Ms. Sharman, isn't here. Unfortunately, she had to work. So again, this is just a starting point. I won't feel very comfortable moving too forward. I would really like to have our solicitor on board with us, so he could ask those off the cuff questions. So I just want to say, I think we need to just kind of slow the roll and not get too ahead of the game, have some forward movement, but we're missing key people like Andre said about with the city and the Showerman and not having Martin County with this. I don't feel comfortable stepping in that puddle quite yet.
Also should be included maybe the panel attorneys that we use. Since they're
That's fine.
that's our go-to for those.
And to that point, I'm waiting to say that as far as any continuity, we certainly have capable panel attorneys. And Wayne is capable. He takes the reports in anyway. And so just from my experience with them, it's not that like they're getting the deluge of them at a certain time, but there are cases that are in the pipeline that still have to be addressed. People have to be kept abreast. I mean, you stop me again, Mr. Picasso. I kind of did some of this stuff myself. Just try to see it to a conclusion. Or the best way is the way that they've been handling it, where we haven't had to have too many commissioners chime in when both parties have. But I don't see where things that are being operated without an executive director at this point going forward as a hindrance to the work that you're doing. If you think it's a hindrance, then let us know.
Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I would recommend that, because having another meeting of council altogether isn't going to accomplish anything for getting the information that we need. So I would suggest we can vote on the formation of an ad hoc committee, which could then begin the process of working with all the stakeholders and all of the people who so ably put their time into this effort. And then bring it back to the full council for a more formal recommendation going forward.
So you make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion for the formation of an ad hoc committee to investigate. I would like to volunteer to be on that, but depending on what other council members have an interest in that.
I second the motion. There's a motion.
Mr. Wood has a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
On the motion, Mr. Bale,
Yes.
Mr. Horton,
Yes.
Mrs. Rennie,
Yes,
Mr. Spatella,
Yes,
Mr. Winarski. Is he still with us? Yes, he's online. I'll ask Mr. Winarski
That's
to,
fine.
Jim, if you could please, or I'm sorry, Mr. Winarski, if you could please text me your response to an ad hoc committee or enter it in the chat, please. And Chairman Chang.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So in the ad hoc committee, how many council people? Just three.
I believe it's 3, right?
So if another council person that's not on it has questions, how do we get the question sent up to you?
It can, well,
Just
it's
not-
actually the chairman, right, the chairman would appoint the committee, so I probably spoke out of turn. But I think they would, if other council members have questions, they can send them to the members of the committee.
And since I don't know where if I'm on that council, can I address these three things that Attorney Talarico had suggested? Well, just my own opinion.
No, you're always allowed to think, sir.
I'm not, I would never eliminate. That's not really my vocabulary. And I'm gonna go to the third one, administration. It's not about somebody sitting there by name. It could be me. I don't think it belongs in the hands of the administration. I think it belongs here with 7 people. That way, crazy stuff doesn't happen. We can start. So, I think continue as is, but improve it where there are issues or problems.
Mr. Horton, you volunteer to be the chair for
I'll serve at the cast of the chair.
that? It's up to you, sir.
Sharon,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I'm so sorry. If I may, two things. I know that Councilwoman Sharon as the leaders are very important.
Right.
She is. Commissioner.
And that's why I didn't feel real comfortable getting too ahead of ourselves without her, because I know she takes this very, very seriously and has put a lot of hours and time, blood, sweat, and tears into it. And she really should be part of it. That's why I was like, just a little bit back. I agree, she can move forward, but I don't want to go too far without the Sharon here, because this is what she's very passionate about. And, you know, really her input has helped us through all the changes that we did try to make and we didn't make. So at that point, you know, I think we'll talk about who's going to be coach. But you said you volunteered. I would take your volunteer. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Also, Mr. Winarski did text me a yes to the motion.
So it's anything else? Mr. Rick.
Can we, well, we can do that on formally the list of stakeholders to notify. But some of them.
Totally agree. I want to make sure that that ability has our solicitor with us, because I think they'll be a huge asset. So
If you want to send out anything,
to get out of here. Take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
So, have a nice day.